On behalf of State Superintendent Joy Hoffmeister, I'd like to welcome you to a brief webinar regarding the 2019-2020 WIDA Precode application. My name is Dan Ruhl, and I am the Executive Director of English Language Proficiency here at the Oklahoma State Department of Education Office of English Language Proficiency. Let's go ahead and start by talking about the purpose of this particular report. The WIDA Precode application was created for two purposes. The first was to ensure alignment of identified EL students at the district and state levels. We're going to look at the report here in a second, and you're going to see that it will generate a list of all the EL students at a particular site, and we're asking you to make sure that aligns with who your student information system says is a current EL at that site. The second purpose is to provide districts a tool to identify possibly miscoded students, and we'll talk about how it does that here in a second as well. The WIDA Precode application is available in the WAVE, and the confirmed data generated by the report will be used for the WIDA Precode upload into the WIDA AMS system. So it's a good time to note that the greater the accuracy of this report done by the district, the more accurate the created test sessions will be in the WIDA AMS system when you eventually log in and look at your generated test sessions for individual sites. So with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the actual application itself. So we're going to be logged into the WAVE, and we're going to walk through how to get to this particular report. So homepage of the WAVE, and actually you will not have this particular step. This is a state level step, but reporting, state reporting certification. And we are going to go to Tulsa. They have an inactive district that they let me use. So we're at Tulsa, and now we're going to see the report links. We're going to go to WIDA Precode, select there. And then these are all the sites listed for a specific district. Now we are going to use an inactive site for the purposes of this webinar. So we're going to go to Adams Elementary. And this is going to be the what we call the pre-populated data screen. So you're going to have 7 columns: school ID, student testing number, last name, first name, birthday, grade, and EL status. This page is going to list every student that site has assigned to it that is coded either 2349 English learner or 1637 English learner but declined supplemental EL services from the district. What we're asking you to do is go in and ensure that the students listed on this page align with the students your local student information system says are going to be participating in the WIDA Access assessment in spring. The second part of the code is to go to find missing students, or the report is to go to find missing students. We're going to click here, and it's going to bring you to a little bit more expanded page in terms of student information. Now, students can be generated on the Find Missing Students page for 3 separate reasons. The first reason, and the most important, and why this report was designed, was to identify a coding progression error between students who were formerly 2349 or 1637, so they were formerly identified as English learner or English learner declined EL services, but in the past year, they've been switched over to either 1633 native English speaker or 1634 fluent English speaker or 9997, which are all invalid code progressions. A student cannot move from being identified EL to being 1633 or 1634. That they can only move to 1636 first year proficient. So the most common error that you're going to see generated on this particular page will be a student under EL, and it'll be EL no, and that no will be highlighted in yellow. So if that occurs, what we're asking you to do is go over to the data validation wizard, and if they have a no in yellow, there will be a live link right here in this box. Click on that live link and it'll generate a new window, and it will be a pop-up, so you have to ensure that pop-up blocker is not turned on the browser that you're using. And if that pop-up blocker comes on and the data validation wizard window pops up, if it's completely blank, you can be 100% sure that that is the issue, that there is a code issue between where the student was coded EL and now is not coded EL. That's the only, in that scenario, that's the only way that it can work. If you push the data validation link and it pops up a window that has information in it and is telling you that there's another issue, that's a data validation issue that is outside of the coding issue. Now, it's something that should be addressed, but for the purposes of this report, it doesn't need to be addressed before the site can be confirmed. The only thing that needs to be confirmed is that the student's coding is correct for the data validation component. That's the only thing you need to worry about. So if there is an STN issue, you'll usually see a yellow square pop up on the STN cell for the student, and there'll be a live link under STN Wizard. What this means is the student does not have an STN assigned. At this point in the year, this is fairly uncommon, but it does happen. So there'll be a live link here for you to click, and it'll walk you through the process to get an STN assigned. You also might have an issue with ownership. If a student has their enrollment tied, their STN is tied to two or more active enrollments in the district or state, you will have a live link that is located in this particular cell at the end of that particular student's row that you'll have to click on and walk through the ownership wizard process to make sure that that student is assigned to the correct state or the correct district and site. So after all of these have been addressed, and as these things are changed in your local student information system, as this report updates, and it usually updates every night, you'll start seeing students drop off of this page and then move back to the pre-populated data page. If they were incorrectly coded as a 1633 or 1634, and you recode them to a 2349 or a 1637, recoded back to a English learner or English learner declined EL services, they will update in the wave, and then they'll be pre-populated on this screen rather than on Find Missing Students. Now, a couple notes on this particular screen. You will not see pre-K students on this particular screen, as pre-Kers do not participate in WIDA. They're automatically filtered out. A couple things. We're kind of coming to the end of this webinar. I just want to make a couple notes. First, please remember that the clarity and the consistency and correctness of this report will directly feed into the upload file for your district into the AMS system. So if whatever you see here, when this is all said and done, that's what's going to be in the AMS system. So the more accurate this is, the fewer test sessions that you'll need to create manually within WIDA AMS. Secondly, any district staff that require review access to this report will need to be assigned Precode report access permissions in the single sign-on system. And the instructions to do so are located in the district superintendent single sign-on manual. Site level reports may only can be confirmed by the site principal. That's very similar to October 1. And even if a district believes that a site is serving no EL students, we're asking that you please step in and at least run the Find Missing Students function for each district site to better ensure any students that may have enrolled in that site under potentially a home language survey that did not flag them as potentially EL, that they might be caught and correctly coded for this spring assessment for WIDA access. Lastly, this particular report does not require district level certification. It only requires that each site go in and confirm. It does not need to be certified by the superintendent. It only needs to be certified ultimately by the site principals. All right, in closing, I'd like to thank you for your time and let you know you feel free to contact me if I can assist with any additional questions or concerns. My name is Dan Ruhl. Again, I'm the Executive Director of English Language Proficiency in the Office of Accountability, or the Office of English Language Proficiency at the Oklahoma State Department of Education. Also, I'd like to add that these instructions are available in written form, and they will be emailed out with the initial notification for this report, and will also be available on the Wave as long as this webinar, link to this webinar. Thanks a lot and have a great day.